Yeah, and I mean, because you're putting out great content like this, I think people will succeed a lot faster than we did. They're probably not going to have to go through a lot of the same challenges and pain because they have that great expectation going in, and plus they've got great people like you and other people in the industry helping them through. So yeah, if you have a strong mindset.
What is up, guys? This is episode 2 of the Gold Nugget Podcast for real estate entrepreneurs. In this episode, Nick Perry talks about the core principles needed to operate at the level he is operating at. These are core principles you need to implement today. Also, we drop an exact method you can use in getting your first deal. So listen into this episode, and I hope you enjoy. What's up, guys? This is episode 2 of the Golden Nugget. I have Nick Perry here. We were actually just chatting a little bit before. I think he's got 3 or 4 more states before he closes a deal in every single state here in the U.S. And then we were here with my co-host, Austin Wilder. Austin, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. Nice to meet you, Nick. I just recently watched another podcast you were on, and it pumped me up to get to talk to you. I like listening to some of your stories, and I think, anyone who listens to this will probably enjoy listening to your stories as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's why I love doing these podcasts, is because you get to meet so many other like high caliber entrepreneurs. Like, you guys found me from another podcast, and it creates an amazing network of, like-minded entrepreneurs to get to talk to.
Yeah. So, man, I'll just go ahead and jump straight into it. I'd messaged Nick on Instagram a couple of days ago, and I was kind of mentioning to him, I really want to focus on some mindset stuff. And he had said that's his favorite topic. The reason me and Nick and Austin really agree on that, Nick has a mastermind group where he lays out all the technical skills of running a wholesale company. He's operating at a level that's allowing him to hopefully, I don't know, Nick, what do you say, in the next couple of years be in every single state?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've locked up deals in every single state, but we're still just working on our last 4 states to close. So
yeah,
I'm probably just going to overspend on a marketing campaign just so I could say I did it. I'll do the Dakotas and New Hampshire and Vermont, and I'll overspend on those campaigns just so I could say I got all 50.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have it this year.
Yeah.
We'll have all 50 this year.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, he's operating at a level. I mean, that's just insane. I've spent the last couple of years in real estate. I don't think I've met anybody say they can do all 50 states. But like I'd mentioned, he has a mastermind group where he lays out word by word. He's operating at a level of what to do to operate at that type of level. But I wanted to go back to the basics, the foundation that he operates at, the mindset. I wanted to go back to the principles that somebody can implement right now, because I truly believe that if Nick laid out the perfect business plan for you on how to operate in 50 states, you would not implement it if you didn't have the correct foundation or the correct principles or the correct mindset. So Nick, I'll let you go ahead and take it away. Can you give us some of your most important mindset tips? I know you with Carlos on the 80/20 podcast, y'all had mentioned y'all did something like the January letter. That was actually the first time I ever heard of that. Do you have any tangible gold nuggets? Like, what are some tips and stuff that people can do?
Yeah, I'll drop a bomb on you guys right now. So here, I got this sitting right next to me. So this is a planner, but you plan out, you literally just put your goals in there, and you got to write them down 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night. So you want to talk about staying accountable and keeping your subconscious and your conscious mind driving towards your goals. Like, you can see, like, this is every day, 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times in the evening. And I do it since I've been doing that. I mean, everything's been like a rocket ship, because I'm just continually conditioning my subconscious and my conscious to actively go after what I want to get. And that's half the battle, right? Our subconscious mind usually is on autopilot. And if you don't go and actually, try to override it, and you're constantly overriding it, you're going to end up, just doing things that you really shouldn't be doing. So this is a really good book or journal right here. Like, and here's the thing, I put really big stretch goals in here. These are like really big annual stretch goals. And since I've been using it, I'm way ahead of pace of where I ever thought I could be. So you can find this, just do a Google search on it. It's like $15 or $20 or something. And I'll tell you the key on that is just diligently do it every single day. Don't miss, be religious about it. And you'll start to see like, oh, wow, I'm actually really cruising along a lot faster than I thought I'd be. So that's one like really tangible thing you could do right now is just open up another tab and get that journal ASAP. So
Man, I thought I was doing good. I was writing down my goals in the morning. That's a next level commitment right there.
3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night.
Man, I remember when I was in like elementary school and you did something wrong, you got in trouble, you had to go like sit in the corner of the room and write lines. And I think it's funny how like when you're a kid, that's a punishment, but when you're an adult, and an entrepreneur, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to keep you pushing and keep your mindset. I just think it's funny how, at different levels of your life, different things can either motivate you or discourage you.
Yeah, and I mean, with all the noise going on, it's 2021. We got social media, everything going on in the world. We got our businesses we're running. Like, you got to keep the main thing, and really keep reminding yourself daily, what you're doing this for and where you're trying to go.
For sure. Hey, Nick, would you spend 3-5 minutes? I know if people follow you on social media, they can probably find out a lot about you, but would you kind of tell me a little bit about where you came from to where you are now, just so the listeners will know a little bit about your success and how come these tangible things we're talking about? I just want them to know what type of success that's leading you to.
Yeah, I grew up in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. Yes, graduated high school there, was basically D and F student. I barely squeaked through high school. I was more concerned with like making money back in high school. I would work every single day. As soon as I could get my worker's permit, I got a job at the dollar store, and I was working every day after school and on the weekends at the dollar store. Then I worked at a cell phone store when I was 16, and they promoted me to store manager at the cell phone store, but it was a full-time commitment. They didn't know I wasn't 18, but they were like, hey, we're going to make you store manager, and it's going to be $18 an hour and commission. And at 16, $18 an hour in commission sounds a whole hell of a lot better than going to school every day. So that was it for my formal education. About 10th grade, I just said, screw it, I'm not going to school anymore. And I figured out how to get my high school diploma online. I took it, took some online classes and graduated. But yeah, I've been working since I was, 14. Yeah, I lived with my dad as a teenager, and he was barely scraping by. Like, we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. I slept on the couch. He could barely afford, $650 a month rent. Yeah, we go, a lot of times without food, and I didn't want to ask him for money. So I got my butt to work, and I went out there and took responsibility for providing for myself if I needed clothes or whatever. And that adversity really challenged me, because I was like, I'm not gonna be this. I am going to make sure that money is never a limiting factor in my life. And that's something that's still inside of me to this day. I'm always trying to reach higher. How can I do more so I can build a better life for myself and those around me, and be able to give back? And that was kind of a driving force for me. That was my childhood. And then early adult, I was a personal trainer. So 18 to 22 or 23, I was a personal trainer, and I was doing really well. I had a full-time book of clients, but I realized I'm working 60 hours a week, and I'm only making 60 grand a year, and I'm training all these rich clients. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, these people that I'm training are high net worth individuals, and I'm sitting here spinning my wheels for 60 grand a year. So I would always ask my clients, like, hey man, what do you do for a living? Like, how do you do it, get it done? And they poured into me. One of my clients actually gave me a job. He was the owner of like one of those large frozen yogurt chains. And I like, where you make the cup, put it on the scale. He was like, look, man, you would crush it at sales. Do you want to do franchise sales? I said, all right, let's do it. So I started doing franchise sales, selling frozen yogurt franchises, traveling around the country. Like, if you were going to open one up in Jonesboro, I'd be like, hey man, sell you the franchise. I come down there, help you train your employees, and then I go to another one. So saw a huge part of the country doing that, traveling all over. And that fad of like frozen yogurt like died out, completely cooled off, no pun intended, back in like 2014. So I ended up getting to a crossroads where I was like, well, I can get another job here in Northern Virginia doing like government contracting or something like that, which didn't really interest me. And that's really the only main industry there. Or I can just take up the little bit of money I had. I was making good money, but I was spending as fast as I was making as a 23, 24-year-old kid. So I had like $5,000 to my name, and I said, screw it, I'm going to go to Austin, Texas. It was one of the stops I went to when I was traveling around the country. Fell in love with it. So I put everything in the back of my beater Mazda 3, drove down to Austin with no connections, no job, nothing like that. And basically had to hit the ground running or I was going to get evicted from this new apartment I just signed a lease on. And that's how I came across real estate and wholesaling. I knew I wanted to, create independence for myself, build my own company. And I started diving deep into YouTube videos, and then the rest is history.
That's
I think
awesome. So
that's crazy, Justin. Your story is so similar.
yeah,
That's awesome though. I like to hear that.
yeah, I think I'm at the you said you jumped to Texas, $5,000 in your pocket about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was in Louisiana, jumped up to Jonesboro, and I don't remember. I think I took a picture of my bank account when I moved up here because I had $900 on my credit card and $0 in my checking and $0 in my savings. And I took a picture of that and I signed it. I was like, and I look at it, and I moved up here, and for about a year and a half now, we've closed almost, I don't know, I think we're at almost 35 deals in a year and a half. And then, so we've done quite a bit in our first year. And I think when I first moved up here, which is, I guess this kind of brings us to our next topic, was I had issues with analysis paralysis, where I was reading too many books, jumping into YouTube videos, and I had all this information, and it was like, why can't I implement? And I didn't start implementing until like I started focusing on my mindset. I started focusing on my why. So I kind of came up with this thing where I write down my why every single morning. Why I'm about to do what I'm going to do. Because I feel like the why is more important than the how, because the how will come later once your why is strong enough. Nick, what do you have to say about your why and the importance behind like writing down the why? And do you have any tangible things on writing your why down?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is most people will be like, "I want to make $1 million," or "I want to be, I want to save the world," or whatever it is. Well, you got to ask deeper questions than that. So, if you've ever heard of the 7 layers of why, so say you're like, "Okay, I want to make $10 million this year." Okay, why? And you ask yourself, why do you want to make $10 million this year? So I can, get a nice house for my family and be able to provide, buy some passive investments and be able to give back to my church or my community. Why do you want to get passive investments and give back to your church and your community? And you go a layer deeper than that, right? And then when you get to that like 7th why, that's usually what your actual why is. And it's something like, for me, it's like, hey, I didn't have, I watched my family struggle growing up, and I want to be able to break a generational thing and be able to like be a better person. So your why is much deeper, and when you tie it to that really deep why, it strikes a chord in you that's going to propel you toward out of bed every single day and straight towards your dreams.
No, that I love that.
I want to make like $10 million this year. That's
Yeah.
too surface level.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. I've actually heard that before, the 7-layer question. I mean, that's actually something I love that you bring that up, because when I first started, let's see, 6 years ago, I was in college. I ended up graduating with a pre-med degree, PT, pre-physical therapy, whichever you want to call it. And I feel like my issue was I wanted that title, be a PT, be a doctor, but what's that going to get you when you're in those hard times? And so that's what I love about this 7-layer question. You ask yourself, why? And you get to that 7th. I mean, that's a gold nugget right there. Go home and ask yourself, why? Why do you want $10 million? Because the title of $10 million, I mean, what's that mean without your why? I love that. Sorry, I could go on a whole nother hour chatting about the why, but I live by it. That's
You
my
have to
favorite
have it,
topic.
man, because here's the thing: is like when shit hits the fan, which it does pretty much every day in business. Let's be real, right? When things get hard, what's going to carry you through those hard times is a crystal clear why, and a very deep why. And business is tough, right? That's why 99% of people that try to get into this business or any other fail. And most businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. So, because they can't push through those barriers, and a lot of it has to stem with the business owner not having a crystal clear why. So,
Yeah.
super important, super important. Yeah, take whoever's watching this, take 20 or 30 minutes to yourself, quiet area, and like get that shit hammered out, because it's gonna make sure you're doing what you actually want to be doing. A lot of times you can get pulled in different directions and go different places, and it's not even aligned with what you really want. So very important.
Mm-hmm. So I think another tangible thing is the way we operate our business. We went and bought a book called Traction. Are you familiar with that book?
Oh yeah, we've implemented all through our business.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
things they talk about is just your core principles and your why. And so I've experienced that firsthand where we're kind of coming up. It's like we go on a little 2 month drought where it's like, well, I'm not getting any deals, but then I go back to my core principles and my why, and it's like, oh yeah, I have to push through it because I want to help my parents go into retirement. Like that's my biggest why.
Right.
I want to be able to buy my parents' company. And then give them $1 million check, or not even if it's a check, or I can say, hey, I'm giving y'all $6,000 a month so y'all can retire. I mean, that's the point I want to get to. So the why, that's why it's so important.
Yep.
Man, I guess my next point is I heard a story of let's say there's a guy that digs ditches for a living, and
Mm-hmm.
he goes to this multimillionaire and he says, hey, how do I become rich? And the multimillionaire says, you have to work hard. Well, the hole digger, all he knows is how to dig holes. So he goes and digs bigger holes and more holes. And what are you left with? Just a bunch of holes and a hurt back. And
That's
so,
right.
that I believe in the power of networking and the power of implementing and the power of just going to learn. Nick, do you have any advice on when are people putting their work? Like if they develop this great mindset, well, when do you? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of confused on how I'm asking the question. Like, what type of advice would you give that person that they need to know when their work is going towards the wrong area?
Yeah. So listen, you hit it right on the head. If hard work got the job done, ditch diggers and coal miners would be the richest people in the world, right? None of us are working harder than them. Let's just be honest. Okay. Now, you want to talk about being a multimillionaire? You got to do big shit. Okay. So, if you're sitting there doing trivial things within your business, you need to get more leverage. Figure out who can do that, not how can you do it, and how can you do more and load more shit on your plate. You need leverage in business. So that's why, like, whatever I do, I'm focused on major moves, right? I'm not looking at little tasks that I can do that are gonna, bring me a little bit closer. No, everything that I do, it's got to have a giant payoff attached to it, right? So you need to be thinking, how can I move giant boulders, right, with the maximum amount of leverage possible? And that's how people, become very successful.
Yeah.
Leverage.
Yeah. So basically, constantly reviewing your what's moving the needle forward. To kind of
Correct.
sum that up, like, am I doing stuff that's moving the needle forward? It's like, hey, I've developed this mindset. I know my why. I went home. I wrote down 7 layers. I went to that seventh layer. I've had the education. Now, what's moving the needle forward? Pick a goal. And here's another important thing: is Nick's wholesaling, operating, and over the whole entire U.S. So I think comparing myself to Nick in a way where it's like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go operate in 50 states, but I feel like maybe kind of when you're goal setting, you're setting up this needle where you need to be like, I need to get from point A to point B. And if you're on your first deal, just kind of closing that first deal, like what's going to move the needle forward, and you reach that goal, set another goal, keep like moving the boulder, like as long as you're constantly moving the boulder.
Yeah, dude, that's all I do, right? I'll set a giant ass goal for myself, and then I just break it down and make sure I'm making tangible progress towards it every single day. Right. So
Mm,
I use Trello. Trello is a, task management app, way better than Google Keep or Evernote or any of that crap. Y'all need to get Trello set up, download the app on your phone. I use it on my my laptop every single day, and I'm constantly adding stuff to that list. Okay, how can I move the needle today? How can I move the needle today? Anytime I think of something that I should do or I need to get done, it goes on my Trello board, right? And then when I come in to work, I look at my Trello board and I start plugging into the calendar. Okay, I need to get this done, and I time block it into my Google Calendar. And that's how I structure my day. And I know I look at it and I weighed out what is the most important, what's going to move the needle the most today, what's going to make the cash register ring the fastest. And that's how I'm getting shit done at a very high level. So yeah, I would highly suggest you do that because, with everything that goes on in business, you'll get distracted if you don't do that. You're going to end up squandering a lot of your time. And you need to make sure that you're making big moves every single day.
Yeah, I
And
love this.
I think that's, go ahead.
You can go.
I was going to say, I think that's really good because that's something you can do whether you're just starting out, whether takes a year to get a deal or whether you got 10, 20, 30 deals rolling in each month. I think like outsourcing any of that those things, if it's possible for you to, utilize other people or other applications to get that little nitpicky stuff out of the way so that like the person with the mindset, the visionary and the implementer can like hone in on those sort of things to really get shit done.
Correct. So like I'll have stuff on my Trello board and I'll be looking at it and I'll be like, man, I just don't have time for this shit. And then I'll have like my executive assistant do it, right? And I'll just drop her a voice memo or I'll create a Loom video and be like, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z for me, and they'll get it done, right? But you need to, if you're not to where you want to be personally or professionally, financially, you need to continue to keep adding things to your list, right? And it doesn't mean you have to get them all done, but I never run out of shit to do. I'm always busy, right? There's always more to be done. There's always extra work. So I don't know what being bored really feels like. That's not in my vocabulary.
That's not always a bad thing.
No.
Yeah, man, we're talking about workload right now and always being busy. Can you talk how you manage your day, some tangible things on just handling that type of workload?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm not busy, I'm productive, right?
Productive.
So there's a big difference. Because I could load myself up with busy work, no problem. But if there's a great book out there you got to read, it's called Who Not How. And you need to be thinking in your business, like Austin said, is, a lot of that nitpicky stuff, you need to figure out who can do it, not how can you do it or when can you find time. A lot of things that need to be done, you can have a key employee or a virtual assistant or somebody do it for you. But as long as you have it on your list and you know it needs to get done, you can either delegate it to somebody or get it done yourself. And that's how you get massive leverage and just start taking off in business.
I hear Justin say all the time, it's more important to work on the business than in the business, and I think that phrase speaks volume just, to you, to anyone that's, operating or has people under them or, really wants to move the needle.
Oh, big time. I mean, between us, like I haven't comped a property or talked to a seller or a buyer in at least 2.5, 3 years, but my team are a bunch of killers, right? So I don't have to do anything. I've got everything delegated out within my real estate business. I'm getting ready to leave and get out of my business. I'm moving to Miami in 2 weeks. So
that's awesome.
All right.
my office is here in Austin. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about for that beginning person when you were the person comping and you were starting off, can you talk a little bit about some of those mistakes you made and how you overcame those? Like what's one of your bigger mistakes?
I mean, like bigger mistakes was, I didn't want to spend any money. I didn't want to, and I would spend money, but I was trying to live on be on a budget and everything, which is fine. So I would try to piecemeal together a bunch of YouTube videos, figure everything out on my own. I was handwriting my direct mail letters rather than sending them to a fulfillment house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm getting caught in the weeds with, trying to do everything on my own, thinking that I could figure it all out from watching, a compilation of 25 different YouTube videos. And I squandered probably a year of my life and spent a lot of time, energy, and frustration just not doing any deals. It took me 11 months to get my first deal. And
Yep.
that was, something that I didn't really start getting traction until I got plugged in. Like, back then Sean Terry was crushing it. So I was like, all right, Sean, look, I'm going to put this, mastermind on a credit card, and I need to get really serious about what we're doing here. And once I got plugged in with, a really good mentor, that's when my business started to take off.
Yeah. No, I think that's having a mentor is very important. I have a mentor right now. We meet every Tuesday. So yeah, I get the benefit of that. That's awesome. If you can go out there and find a mentor.
Yeah, I still have mentors to this day. Yeah, if once you even get up in like to the upper echelons, like I know billionaires and things like that, they still have, board of advisors and mentors. So it never stops. It's not like having a mentor is a bad thing. You need to have a mentor. Look at LeBron James as a coach, right?
Yeah.
Any top professional athlete or entrepreneur or actor, celebrity, they all have coaches around them. And that's a common denominator of success right there. So invest the money into education. I can tell you one thing, I spent over $500,000 on my education, and I've never regretted spending money on that at all. Every time that I go to a mastermind or I get plugged in with a mentor that I resonate with, it's always like a quadruple digit return on my money. I spent a couple grand to go to this mastermind or whatever. Well, you know what? I probably got $250,000 worth of value easy out of it. Just in the networking alone, a lot of times it's not even the information, just the people and the accountability. It's incredible. So yeah, don't shy away from plugging in and getting accountability and coaches around you. It's going to shortcut the amount of brain damage and pain that you have to go through.
Yeah. So when I found my mentor, I was hustling. Like you said, you had 11 months before you got your first deal. I believe 104 appointments, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, we kept track of that too. I think we were at 250 appointments before we got our first deal. I was going on 30 appointments a week, and I didn't get a single paycheck. I was waiting tables. And so my mentor saw that, and he just pours into me because of that work ethic. Nick, if you had somebody approach you asking you to be your mentor, what do you want to see your mentee? Like, if somebody goes out there to try to find a mentor, like, what would you tell them how would they present themselves? What type of value can they add to their mentor?
What kind of value can somebody add to a mentor? Well,
No,
I mean, or what should you look for? You need to look for somebody that is in a position that you already want to be in, right? Like if you're looking for a personal trainer and you want to be a bodybuilder, you're not going to pick a personal trainer that's fat and out of shape, right? If you're trying to be a multi-million-dollar, wholesaler, you look for somebody that's already a multi-million-dollar wholesaler and is active in the business, right?
Yeah.
So, only choose mentors that are already where you want to be and that are actively, practicing what they preach. Because there's people that, have created successful businesses before in the past, but they're not really doing it anymore. Well, things change every day, week to week, month to month. This business changes, new marketing strategies, new techniques, new softwares. And if you don't have somebody that's out there, on the bleeding edge, doing it every single day, you're going to end up, taking bad information. So find somebody that resonates with you and is already where you want to be and is actively doing it. Very important.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm gonna re-ask that question in a different way too. I love the answer. Just find somebody who's already doing it. So what about for the mentee though? If he wants to, how does he present himself to the mentor so that the mentor does want to pour into him?
Well, if they don't have, like a coaching program, I mean, because if they offer a mentorship or a coaching, then obviously money, right? You just give them money, and you want to be, a value by, being respectful of their time, figuring out, people always ask me, how can I add value to you? Really, if you want to add value to me, you know, go and we do JV deals, right? So if you've got a deal, bring it to them, right? That's how I started in the beginning. I would go out and basically I was bird dogging for one of my first mentors. I would go find a deal, have him help me contract and get it sold. But I was doing the entire top half of the funnel, all the lead generation, all the talking to the sellers, going on appointments, getting the contract, and then the back end I would split with him. But I got a first class education in real estate doing that.
Yeah, so just going in and JV in and bringing them deals. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so man, that's some good stuff right there. Do you have any points that you'd like to speak on that maybe I didn't bring up?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think the biggest thing for anybody getting into this business, or if you're getting ready to start any other kind of business, is very common for, social media, Instagram, Facebook to, over glamorize entrepreneurship and everything. And people get sucked into that and grossly underestimate the amount of sacrifice that you have to make. You're going to have to go through every single emotion in this business. You're going to have to go through, you're going to have to put in a lot of hard work. We're talking 18-hour days here, right? This is not like, oh, boom, I got this property and now I flipped the contract and now I'm making 10K before lunch. It doesn't work that way when you're getting started. So you better give yourself a real reality check. Stop believing everything you see on, online and know that, this is a real business. You're going to have to do in the beginning, you have to do everything: marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, finance, KPIs, right? There's a lot going on to run a business. And so you need to be a good business operator. Remember, we're not in the real estate business. The houses, that's just the widget that we're flipping. Okay. Like we've got my operations dialed into the point that if, wholesaling went away tomorrow, we could go to whatever. I could go to selling insurance. I'll give the guys different scripts. I'll change my marketing campaigns and we'll just keep it going. And that's how you want to get your business, right? To where it's a well-run business. You don't want to get too in the weeds with, just being houses, because wholesaling is sales and marketing at the end of the day. For like my operation, this is an inside sales organization. I don't look at it as we're a real estate company.
Man, this isn't part of what you just said, but I just want to bring this up because I think it'd be worth talking about. Since I've been listening to you speak and since we've been talking today, I want to tell you something I really admire about you. I feel like you are not scared of anything. And I think that is probably one of the most defining factors of being an entrepreneur, because you have to be willing to do stuff when you have $0 in your bank account, when you have 0 people cheering you on, and when you're the only person that's there to lift you up. Like, I think it's scary to have to put thousands of dollars down to go into this, into a mentorship style, program and go talk to people that, are so far above your caliber. It's intimidating. It's intimidating to do stuff like that. And then, have to ask and, just really put yourself out there. But if you don't do it, you're not going to get anything back because no one's going to do it for you. And I think that's a lot. That's a problem that people see, like you said, the view of entrepreneurs nowadays, it's all glam and Rolexes and nice cars. It's not like that. It's not like that.
No, you see me, I'm in my office. Like I come to work every single day. Like I have nice things and I live a nice lifestyle now, but it took me a long time to get to this point. And I mean, to your point, Austin, sorry to interrupt, but fearlessness is probably one of the biggest attributes of successful entrepreneurs that I've seen be a common denominator. Yeah, and that comes to having that strong why, right? Because do I do things that scare me? All the time. But you know why I do it? Because I realize, okay, well, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be able to achieve my why. And I have that crystal clear why. So that overrides the fear every single time. But if you don't have that, you don't know why you're doing something. Why are you going to, put your hand on a hot stove if you don't know why you're doing it? If you say, hey, I'm going to put my hand on this hot stove, but it's going to give me everything I want, it's going to get me closer, I'll put my hand on the hot stove. I don't care.
Gotta do what it takes.
No, I mean, that applies in every area of the life. I get married in August. I was terrified to walk up to this girl, but I walked up to her. I said, hey, I said, hi, my name, blah, 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 blah. Just couldn't even get the words out, but we're getting married in August now. And my why was that girl is beautiful. And I've seen her. I kind of kept an eye on her. She's got a great personality, and now we're getting married. But even applying that to sales, my first, I think I was looking at my number of appointments I've been on. Man, I think I'm at 2,000 appointments right now.
Wow.
I started off as a lead intake person over the phone. Man, some of those recordings are embarrassing. When I would call somebody and be like, I was cold calling starting off. And so my mentor would listen to a couple of those recordings. And I remember sitting down and there was about 10 seconds of silence and he just starts smiling and he goes, this is horrible.
That's okay, man. But the thing is, here's I don't know if you guys know Ray Dalio. This is a huge thing. Is anything that is worth doing, you're going to fail at it multiple times and you're going to suck at it bad at first, right? But the way that success works is it's a perpetual series of failures. So you try something, you fail at it, right? You end up failing at it and then you learn why you failed at it. Then you come up with a new plan in your head and then you try it again. And then you know what happens? You fail again, right? And that probably happens, before you get good at it, you might go through that loop 100 times, but every time you get a little bit better. And as long as you got that strong why and you don't give up and you'll get down on yourself, you'll always be on the up and up.
For sure, man. I feel so confident in negotiating with anybody. This is 2,000 appointments later, man. My first 500 appointments though, I didn't close a deal. I literally had people. I had a sales guy. He was this elderly gentleman, and I think it was in my early couple hundred appointments. He literally told me, he said, you're going to be a salesman and you're talking to me like that, man. I hold on to that because if I was negotiating with that guy now, I'd lock that contract up. And the point of saying that is, like you said, you fail. But I feel like every time I failed though, I got better because every time I failed, I don't think I feel like what you should really look at is, so like when you go to the gym and work out, you don't grow your muscles in the gym. You grow your muscles during the recovery period. So it's the same thing. I would go on these appointments and you can apply this to any area of life. I would then go home and I would type, man, I have 45, 50 pages of just notes of typing out my appointments. And I would say, okay, I should have responded like this, or I should have responded like this, just constantly improving and reflecting on that failure. So just don't ignore the failure. I think just going back and learning and figuring out how can I improve next time, because I feel like every appointment I went on, I was constantly getting better because I was reviewing that failure.
Oh, dude, 100%. And that's the thing is you got to just expect failure. Like most people aren't naturally talented. Like I'm not a naturally talented salesperson or business owner. I just failed so many times and kept going. I finally got decent at it. So it's the same thing. I had to go on 104 appointments. You struck out on a bunch, but you didn't give up, and that's mad respect. 99% of people can't do that. They don't have the tenacity and the grit and the mental strength to be able to go through that. And a lot of it ties back to what we keep going back to is why are you doing it? Why is this in your heart to do this in the first place? And that you need to hold that sacred why in your heart at all times. And that'll keep you from giving up.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. I'm getting the chills. You can ask Austin. Me and Austin's been close for what was it, 7th grade? I don't know, 20 years in. But me and Austin will get on the phone, and man, I just get to talking for 45 minutes if we bring up this type of conversation. And this type of stuff is awesome. This is the goal of this podcast. I want it to take somebody who's operating at an elite level like you, and I want somebody who's listening that's operating insecure and they've never done their first deal, like I want them to know, like, hey, Nick went through this, so that means you have to go through it, and like this is normal. Like when I realize that my discouragement is normal, it kind of gives me this extra little boost to where it's like, hey, I'm no different than what Nick used to be. Like he went through the same type of struggles. And so when I can normalize it and be like, hey, this is a normal thing to go through, man, I can just pick my head back up and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I started off, you know, just the same way most people did, probably worse. I had very little money to my name. I was in a 1-bedroom apartment in the hood with, no job, no connections, and no formal education or anything like that. And when I started, there wasn't all these resources and places to go. There was like a couple main teachers, and that's all you really got. So now, there's a plethora of information and people out there helping and pouring into the community. So you're getting in at a way better time too. So it just comes down to making sure you have the right mindset going in, because the business is easy, right? It's not. If you made it through high school, I didn't even make it through high school, and I could figure it out. You know how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and talk to people, you're gonna be just fine. So don't worry about the how. Worry about developing yourself first, and you'll end up doing amazing things.
Man, that's awesome. Again, that's Nick Perry, who's doing stuff in almost every single state. He's not far from doing a deal. He's a couple of years out. I think Nick, you have a mastermind group and people are putting content out. Getting that knowledge is, man, I feel like we're at a point in the world where we can go get the knowledge. People are just forgetting it, like you said, they're forgetting about the why, because you can go get the knowledge, and without the why, I mean, where are you going to be? You're not going to be able to implement it if you don't have a strong enough why. Like the analogy you use of putting your hand on the stove. If you're going to go into sales, I mean, I think I got told no. Let's see, 2,000 appointments, and we did 35 deals. Do you know how high of a fail rate that is? I mean, but my why was my main why is like I get married in August, and I want to provide, and I want to help my parents go into retirement. And I just remember every single no going through, man, I would say, it's okay. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And then I would hear other podcasts of like Nick talking about it. And then I would just, I probably listened to over 1,000 hours of podcasts, and I don't remember gaining like tangible things where they said, okay, you can send out ringless voicemail with this type of language. That's not what that podcast didn't help me in that way. What helped me was when I heard everybody else saying they failed and failed and failed. And so that's I just can't speak anymore on that. That's awesome. Just being able to say you can fail, and it's just going to click, and you're just going to start seeing success. But it all begins with your foundation and your mindset.
Yeah, and I mean, because you're putting out great content like this, I think people will succeed a lot faster than we did. They're probably not going to have to go through a lot of the same challenges and pain, because they have that right expectation going in, and plus they've got great people like you and other people in the industry helping them through. So yeah, if you have a strong mindset and invest in yourself, the tangible little things like sending out the ringless voicemail, you'll figure all that out. Pretty much most of this stuff is common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not complicated. Dude, I graduated high school with a 1.5.
Right.
So
I don't even know if I had a GPA. I think I might have been 0.
Yeah, I got into college provisionally, and then I ended up. It was my early college careers where I really started focusing on mindset. I saw my mom cry. She was like, "What are you gonna do?" And then I ended up graduating college with I think it was like a 3.6 or something. But I just, man, it's crazy to look at somebody with a 1.5. I didn't change my skill in studying. I changed my why. I saw my mom cry. I didn't want to see that again, and so
Right.
I started studying. I started implementing, and then that's throughout college. I want to do pre-med, and then now I'm in real estate, but I've carried the same mindset, and so I love it. Just being able to.
It's amazing how successful you can be once you start applying yourself, right? Like you knew what your why. You're going to do the stupid schoolwork in college, and you nailed it. You got a 3.6. Wasn't because you were probably super interested in a lot of the classes you were taking, but you had that strong why. And it sounds like both me and you in high school, we were checked out completely. Right.
Yeah.
So and it's the same in this business. Like you said, once you actually like apply yourself and do your best and know why you're doing it, it doesn't take long to start seeing tangible results and success and money in the bank.
Yeah. Man, so I want to go ahead and wrap it up soon, but can you give us let's stray away from mindset. What's a little somebody trying to get their first tip? I know one thing, somebody trying to get their first deal, if I had to drop one little tangible gold nugget, I would say go into the local county data, look at a non-owner occupied property and send some handwritten letters to the mailing address, not the property address, to help you get in contact with the owner and start negotiating. Do you have like a simple tip like that to help somebody get their first deal?
That's how I got my first deal. I would
Yeah.
sit down. I mean, all the county recorders all knew my name. I had my own little card when I went down there, and I'd sit there for like 7 or 8 hours just handwriting. And no, that works. One other way, if you want to try to speed that up, is you can pull those kind of lists online, like places like PropStream. There's other good data providers out there, and you can send it to a skip tracing provider and get all these people's phone numbers and just call them. You can handwrite the letters too and send them to them, but you can also call them. You can text them. You can send ringless voicemail. The biggest thing is nothing's going to happen until you start talking to people. So get the phone buzzing. That's the number one goal. Don't get into analysis paralysis and how am I going to get, my business card squared away and what am I going to do with my LLC and all that. No, just start talking. Get the phone buzzing. Your phone should be ringing like a drug dealer most of the day from the activity that you're putting out there. And then, before you know it, one thing leads to another and you got a deal.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think a simple thing, like he had said, kind of skip tracing it and getting this list. I read a book called Go for No. I challenge you, make the phone call, get told no 100 times because there's data behind it. If you get told no 100 times, you might have one person say yes. And so I want you to don't look at how many yeses you can get. Just go for the no. And that's the point of the book. If you can get told no 1,000 times, I will genuinely be surprised if you didn't make a deal happen out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, and you continue to, just pour into your own education. If you're serious about becoming successful in business, you want to know everything you can about it, right? So keep, in addition to, doing mentorships, like you should always be listening to podcasts and putting good information in your brain when you're driving or, at night when you're, winding down for the evening or in the morning. You constantly be educating yourself, and all those little things cumulatively add up. So, and work your butt off too. Like you're starting a new business. Okay. So don't think this is going to be like some like 4-hour work week, kind of deal. Like you're going to be working, if you got a 9 to 5, well, you know what, if you want to do this, now you got a 6 to 2, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Get home from your 9 to 5, kiss the dog, and get on the phone and start making shit happen.
Mm-hmm. Man,
do that until you pass out and wake up and do it again tomorrow.
Man, it goes further than that too, because I used to think that I had sleeping issues. I was like, why can't I sleep? Man, but now that I'm succeeding, I sleep good because my day is so full. When I hit that bed, I'm out.
Oh, I sleep like a baby.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you today. I've been up since 4:30. I went to the gym. I was done working out by 5:45. From 6 to 7, I was doing my devotion where I could try to get in the Word, try to do some mindset stuff. And then from 7 to about 8:30, I was meeting with my mentor. We're looking at buying this 10plex. So we were going through making some offers, how to structure that deal, and then now hopped on this at 10 o'clock. And then as soon as we hop off, I got another. We're doing some virtual deals where we try to close virtually. So I got appointment after appointment after appointment until 3 o'clock. And then I'm just from 3 till 9 tonight, I'm going, and then I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing, man, when you have money problems, you don't sleep too good. Right. So you might as well use that time you can't sleep and get your money right.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I don't worry about, survival. Once you get out of survival mode, things become a lot more fun. But until then, you embrace the suck and go out there and get your shit together.
Yeah. So that suck is normal, basically. Just it's not you
Oh,
dealing
it's
with it.
called
I
the
mean,
real world. Sorry,
yeah.
you guys sold a false dream on Instagram, but this is the real world. So
Yeah. No, that, I mean, that was my main goal. I love Instagram. I mean, I get it. I'm guilty of it. I'm trying to make my Instagram be more presentable,
right, same.
but I think that's just from a professional standpoint. But no, ignore the Instagram part. I mean, this is me. I was looking last week. I put a big down payment on a property and I'm like, my bank account. But but
Yeah, but hey, man, you're never gonna be a multimillionaire by only investing a small amount of money, right? How do people become billionaires? Is they make multi-million-dollar bets, right? Multi-million-dollar investments. You, you, that's the whole thing that's flawed in society. Is they think, oh, okay, I'm gonna get a 401k and I'm gonna get 4 or 5, 6% return on that, and I'm gonna do contributions. The math doesn't work out. Maybe it did back in like the 50s and 60s and 70s, but in the new financial world, that's a very you'll end up probably maybe retiring with a $500,000 401k, making 4 or 5%. So what's that going to end up giving you? Maybe like $1,000 a month. Do you want to retire with $1,000 a month and a Social Security check of $865? So your monthly income's only $1,865. Is that the retirement you want? I don't think so. So you need to go out there and make big bets, and that's what's going to get you to where you want to go in the long run.
Man, I love it. That's some good stuff. Austin, did you have anything? Did we hit all the bullet points you mentioned earlier?
Everything I had. Yeah, it's awesome. I appreciate everything you said. I think there's you can't put a price on this type of information. I think it's invaluable. And I applaud you for being so willing to like hop on all these people podcasts, all these strangers that you don't, I mean, I didn't know you before, we got on the phone today. But
yeah, but we're friends now. We just
man,
went
we're
deep
boys
on some mindset stuff. We're boys for life after this.
But I
enjoy
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I know you stay busy, so I appreciate your time, and I hope there's somebody out there listening that can value from this. So Nick's put out some good stuff. Nick, what's your Instagram in case somebody wants to go check you out?
It's just Nick Perry REI. So
okay,
Nick Perry REI. Yep.
Do you have anything else they can go check out to learn a little bit more about you?
Yeah, I mean, we break down everything that we're doing because I was getting bombarded by messages. I didn't want to do coaching ever, but my CEO pushed me because he's like, man, even now I'm getting bombarded. I was like, all right, we'll just lay it all out into a course, but I don't want to just make a course and just, put that out there and say good luck, because that's where the shortcomings of courses are. I wanted to make something that is going to keep anybody that invested money into this. I want to make sure that they're successful. So it's not just like, hey, take this course where we lay out everything in detail. There's also a bi-weekly accountability where you're jumping on Zoom with me just like we are right now every other week. And I'm saying, hey, Justin, did you get that acquisitions hire? Or did you get your PPC campaign set up? Or did you get your financing for, whatever deal? And we're keeping you accountable bi-weekly to make sure that you're getting through those challenges, and whatever big issues that you're having, I work on smashing through them on that call. So you might be like, my marketing's messed up. All right, well, let's get your marketing dialed in and fixed right now. And then you're accountable in 2 weeks to make sure that that's squared away and that's no longer a problem. So that's that. And then, I mean, it's not a rookie course. It's for people that are already in the business that are, looking to maybe go from that, like, 1 to, 5, 6 deals a month up to like 20, 30, 40 deals a month. So that's what it's designed for. So yeah, if you want to check it out, the link's in my bio. But yeah, everybody's loving it so far, getting a lot of results. So got a lot of positive feedback on it.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I guess that wraps it up to the end of the podcast. I think a couple gold nuggets. The one that really stuck out to me was that 7-layer question. Go home, write down your why, and ask yourself 7 times. I mentioned it in the previous podcast, like go home, write it. I'm going to say the same thing. Go home and write your why. If you still haven't done it, go write your why, and then ask yourself 7 times why. When you get to that 7th level, do it. I mean, that's what stuck out to me. Austin, what was your gold nugget that stuck out?
Man, I like the journal thing. I personally have never journaled, but I think that, you know, after the last two podcasts, I think I'm actually I'm gonna try and implement that in my daily life. Sounds
I
like
hate it. I hate
hourly
it,
life.
and my
Really.
handwriting's horrible, and I hate. I'm like, all right, I got to do it. But now I won't miss because I know the power in it. I'm like, I'm not missing it, so I do it religiously. You'll be mad at yourself once you get into it for a couple weeks. You're like, I've turned around from home and I've drove back to the office because I forgot it at the office.
Man, you just keep that on you like your phone.
Well, there's power in writing it pen to paper rather than doing it on your phone. So.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 2 of the Gold Nugget Podcast for real estate entrepreneurs. Please subscribe to my channel to stay caught up with the content I am putting out. I have 50 guest speakers who are operating at extremely high levels in their careers. And we will drop more and more gold nuggets you can implement today. If you implement all these gold nuggets we share, I promise you will see results. Thank you, and go implement.